Yo, what's up guys? Another video on the PC Abyss Heart. This is the alt. The alt has like near to no runes, where you probably on the last video were like, yeah, I can't build this shit. You're gonna be on this one is like, yeah, I can absolutely build this shit. From here, you can also definitely look at units to speed up things. You could maybe remove the vert, you could maybe put twins in there. But one unit that is in here that probably a lot of you people don't have, I think you can also use the fire one for this if you happen to have it built for the raid dungeon, like the dimensional raid. I think the fire one does pretty much... No, wait, this one actually is quite some better. But yeah, there's some options to it where you can use those kind of units if you don't have the best of rune quality. You do want to go for clearing the towers. So I would say left tower first, then right tower. Someone just gave me the argument of why maybe go right tower first because of the speed buff it gives. But I do think that actually going for the left tower first so you don't get attack broken might be stronger. Like, he's gonna cycle out of his speed buff within 2-3 seconds anyways. But you getting attack broken by the left crystal is a little bit more annoying. So why is the nickel in here? Well, the nickel actually gives a slow the moment that something is armor broken. So if he S1s on an armor break, he will slow. But also if he gets hit, he will also apply slow. So there's a lot of slows to this whole boss, and that just makes it a lot easier to clear this thing. So that's definitely a unit that you could look into to make these runs a lot safer. So this is not the fastest of runs, but these are also not the fastest of runs because the rune quality really sucks. Like, all of these runes are ungrinded, the artifacts don't make any sense, the turn order is not really the best. But this is just showing that you can even clear like a pretty decent time with just this. I would say better turn order would probably be Icaru into this thing. Would that make sense though? Yeah, I think there's plenty of team-ups. Also, I'm lacking accuracy because I'm not landing any of the armor breaks, it seems. I don't know. I'm not sure how much accuracy these units have. I'll check the runs after this one. So definitely get in enough accuracy, that is important. Otherwise, if you're not landing these armor breaks, runs tend to take a very long. Armor breaks important. But yeah, nickel. But if you don't have a nickel, a Fuko is also definitely an option that you could say that, okay, definitely works. You also have this unit going for his S2, so you could AoE armor break on that. If he is the second one to move, it would be a lot better actually to just press in those armor breaks all the time. So in this case, as you can see, like these towers, they die really fast. So you don't lose too much time with killing the towers. We're really used to all other dungeons where we just ignore the towers and go straight for the boss. This is one of the few dungeons I would pretty much almost always recommend to go for the tower first. So yeah, pretty much that's to it. I'll showcase the rune quality in a second, and you're gonna be like, wow, that's really bad. Yes. So are these runs slow? Yes, they're slow, but the rune quality is just that, like, super bad, super bad. But speed tuning would be better if you have Icaru going into nickel into Rook, and then Rook can maybe clean up the whole wave. And with that, you can have pretty fast runs. Like, because if nickel goes for an armor break, I think you can get down towards like 40-ish second runs if you have good rune quality on this. Because you're gonna see the rune quality on this, that's not existing. Like, it's literally rune quality is not existing on this account. The artifacts, well, this is actually damage on light, that kind of helps. Rune quality doesn't exist here. It doesn't exist. Like, for one of those things, well, you don't really matter. This also, well, this one is not too bad, but it's also definitely not anything special. It still has damage on fire. So all of those kind of things can definitely get an upgrade. This one is also not too great. Still has the damage on fire as well. If I would put those to damage on light, definitely helps out. How about you? Also no damage on light. So I definitely do think if I just switch out those things for damage on light, you having max skills on this, because he doesn't even have max skills on the weekend, that definitely doesn't help out as well. But yeah, there's a bunch of improvements that can be made here. And if you get all of those improvements in here, I am pretty sure that this team can go for like, I think 40-second runs. If you do this with good rune quality, like if you don't happen to have the Julie that can one-shot the waves, I would say that a team like this, or maybe even if you place it like this, replace the vert and then you put another damage dealer in here. That could be a Crow, that could be... I'm not entirely sure, maybe a Fuko. No, I would rather say a Crow than a Fuko. But you could put another damage dealer in here and then clear the whole boss that way. So you definitely do have options with that could make things a lot faster and then just clear it pretty fast. But if you're looking for a unit that you might be like, okay, I'm not sure what to 2A. This is definitely a good unit to 2A for this dungeon because you have the moment that there's Death Break, you go for attack speed slow, which is pretty good. And then this one is just an AoE armor break. It's not the highest of rates, but it can help you out with that. This thing is also immune to continuous damage, which this boss gives, so that's definitely nice. In addition, grants one beneficial effect, so it also removes the slow. And then we also have the attack speed for 2 turns with a 50% chance. So there's a lot of things to it for this whole unit that just makes this a lot better. So if we actually were to say like, okay, we're gonna give all of the damage lights, because I definitely do think I have some damage on lights. That's the main thing with, maybe you don't want to switch a lot of the runes all the time when you want to switch like your dungeons. What I do recommend to always switch if you switch dungeons, let's say you use your third for like fire, but you use your third also for, in this case, light. Definitely do switch out those artifacts to do the extra damage on those right elements, because just simply doing that already adds so much more damage to just, yeah, it's just a lot better. And that's also why I would recommend farm some artifacts. Like this account barely has any runes. I still farmed artifacts for a little bit to just have like at least blue artifacts in of like 10 to 15 damage on whatever element, just to make it a little bit better. And with that, it just helps out a lot. And either these things are not activating. Do you need skill ups to activate your S1 freaking rogue? I don't even know. So yeah, in that case, you could say that team ups with a crow might be more interesting than team ups with a vert. With vert, you're of course gonna get a lot more turns. It's a lot more safe. But team ups with a crow have more chances for landing those armor breaks. So that is a thing that you could look into as well. But yeah, so far it's definitely fine. Maybe you have to make this unit a little bit on the tanky side. Mine is like super squish. But in that way, if he can get like an armor break and then hit, so get some hits in, and you don't really like that all too much. But let's see how this goes right now. I think yeah, definitely if you just up the rune quality in this whole team, you can definitely get like pretty fast runs on this. And it's definitely not that hard. And keep in mind that this thing has like, why is the slow so important? The slow is important because you give him less damage the moment that he has speed. So just to, like, slow is like another defense break in this dungeon. So you don't really need branding, you just need a slow. And you need him to not have the speed buff. And as you can see, like, I nearly got to my fastest times just by adding in the extra additional damage for, like, the right element, in this case, light. And that's the main thing you want to do. Would I say, like, what are other teams that, let's say you have better rune quality, but you don't have, like, the jewelry rune quality that I showed in the previous video? What team would I recommend to use? I would probably recommend to go for a team like this. You could say, like, okay, maybe I remove the Icaru and I put twins on, like, the third and the Icaru spot. That is definitely an option. I've seen some people talking about, like, going in with Devas or Shainas or Sabrinas. Those kind of units, definitely all good. Definitely options out there that are good. I would say that a Igar is a must in place. If you don't have a nickel, I would say that probably Fuko is very good and recommended to place in there. And I would say Rogue in most teams, unless you go for full twins, is probably also a must take. But everything after that is kind of just to see, like, okay, what is probably your fastest way of clearing this whole dungeon? And just to see, like, yeah, what works for you best, that it fits whatever rune quality you want to throw at it, or no rune quality, or just want to farm it slow and safe. I would say this is more of the slow and safe way. With a Verd in there, Verd definitely makes things safe. Nickel definitely makes things very safe in this one. If you add some good rune quality to this, I think this is one of the few teams that would add in like a full 100% win rate to this whole dungeon. Also, it's a must if you want to go for high win rates teams, that you go for left tower and right tower before you go for the boss. The only way that you can go for straight for the boss is if you have a team that is guaranteed to pretty much like 90 to 95% of the time one-shot the boss before he starts getting speed buff. And that is, it pretty much means you have to kill the boss in one rotation. And yeah, for that you need to have some pretty good run quality to do in the first place to make that work. So I think for most cases it is safe to say go for a team like this. Turn order, once again, nickel on the second spot would be a little bit better. And yeah, you have to be careful with those armor breaks, but the armor breaks actually move after the other 2 units, which is a good thing, because if they moved before, we would have been fucked. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it for this video. This dungeon is not that hard. I also mentioned it in the previous video with the jewelry. Do farm those artifacts. Just give it like 1 or 2 weeks of farming artifacts, even if you're in a beginner game account. Doesn't matter as much. Just farm this dungeon for like a week or 2. Keep all of the artifacts, and you're definitely gonna find, like, I would say, yeah, even the blue ones. Like, if you have like no artifacts in your storage whatsoever, keep all artifacts, and then from there just start using some of the artifacts, and then from there you get some more understanding what are artifacts that are good, what are artifacts that are bad. And from there it's just going back to like your giants, going back to your R5, going back to all of those dungeons, which a lot more people find a lot more interesting, but artifacts definitely are very good. It's not something you want to slack out of. So farm artifacts, boys. That's all there is to it. Guys, thanks a lot for watching this one, and see you as always in the next one.